Hello Rebels and welcome back to my life. If you've been keeping up on my social media or whatever, I have been very sick this week and I missed a video yesterday, which I feel bad about, but I was sick, very sick, ever since Monday, so I didn't make one. I apologize for that, but I'm making one today. I'm really making one today just because I don't want it to become a thing that happens that I miss video days. And what I want to talk about today, I should probably wait until I'm not sick and I can sit down and actually like write it out into a script and express my thoughts more clearly. But I'm not going to do that, and I don't have any other ideas, so here we go. So I talked not too long ago about how one of my favorite YouTube channels, Crash Course, was releasing a new course called Crash Course Philosophy, and that came out this week on Monday. It's so good. It's so very good. It's really excellent and amazing. I'll try to remember to put a link in the description down there to talk about it, but you should definitely go check it out. It's just called Crash Course Philosophy. You can find it on YouTube very easily. They're a big channel. No discoverability problems for them. What the first video did was it introduced the course and what it would be and how it would go, and it also broke philosophy down into like its component parts in a way that honestly I had never heard it broken down before. I mean, I knew about like epistemology and logic and the different terms, the branches. I knew the terms, but I had never seen them constructed in such like an excellent way before. So again, you should go watch the video. It's very good. So one thing that the video talked about was value theory. In other words, how we determine what our values are for different things. And value theory breaks down into aesthetics, which is just the judgment of beauty and what is beauty and is beauty even a thing and whatever. And that's obviously a pretty subjective thing, and it's very difficult to determine what is and isn't beautiful and like the rules for like what is beauty, right? But then there's ethics. There's ethics. Ethics, which I just think is so important, which I have been very, very concerned with all my life, and I think most people are concerned with ethics, even if they don't necessarily think that they're, like, concerned with ethics, and they don't think of ethics that often as a philosophical subject. But if you have an opinion on things that are right and things that are wrong, then you too are concerned with ethics. So one thing that also happened this week is that I got into a bit of a tiff in a few different places on some things that I have basically just been kind of reticent to engage on for a long time. And there are very definitely ethical points about things that I think are right and things that I think are wrong. And, you know, right and wrong, there's a lot of things that can be said about right and wrong. A lot of people can have a lot of different opinions on what right and wrong means. And there's nothing wrong with that insofar as mankind has never had a universal ethical code that literally everyone agreed to and adhered to all the time, right? But one thing that really ticks me off, and I haven't really thought about this until this week when I kind of got into it with a few people and whatnot, is that when you are making a judgment on something that is right and something that is wrong, you're usually basing that on some facts. Like right and wrong are opinions, right? But they're usually based on some actual information that can be proven one way or the other. Unless it's a strictly religious sense of right and wrong. Like that's a thing that exists too. Like, you know, the Bible says to do one thing, so that is considered to be right for some people. I mean, okay, that's fine. But then like a lot of other people, especially people who want to be considered very modern in the way that they think, go, well, based on blah blah information, blah blah is right and this other thing is wrong. And that's cool, and that's like kind of what I like to do myself as well. Like I prefer to base my value judgments on right and wrong based on like, you know, information. And what really ticks me off is when people try to do this, but they base it off of false information. Now I, for whatever reason, am friends with a lot of people and even have family members who are different on the political spectrum than I am. A lot of reasons for this, reasons that I definitely don't want to go into in this video, because some of them are a little bit personal and whatever, but yeah. So I have, for many conversations and interactions in my life, I have kind of had to sit there and listen while people talked about things that they thought were right and wrong based off of their own personal sort of like viewpoints and opinions, but also based off of information that's just wrong, just inaccurate, false, not true, lies. And this week, maybe because I was sick, maybe because of some other reason, I just said, screw it, and I just started calling out people's lies. They did not take kindly to it. Shouldn't be surprised by this. I mean, you know, nobody likes to be told that the information that they're presenting is just wrong. But here's my point in making this video, and I definitely am going to make another video about this when I'm like more coherent and not, you know, you don't owe it to anybody to put up with lies or like like false information, like provably false information. You don't owe it to them to be like, well, okay. You're also not required to engage them upon it and whatever, but if somebody says blah blah factually inaccurate statement and you say that's not true and they say, well, that's my opinion, you are allowed to say, no, that's not your opinion, that is a fact that you stated, except it's not a fact because it's wrong and it's a lie. You're not required to engage with everybody on the internet who you see being wrong, because that would be a never-ending career, which probably also wouldn't be great for your mental health. But you are also not required to let people be just blatantly wrong about things. And you're also not required to let them be absolute assholes about it. So if they come in super snarky and passive-aggressive and being like, oh, well, you must be trying to say blah, blah, blah and everything, you're not required to calmly sit them down and educate them on what you were actually saying. You are totally entitled to say, hey, you're an asshole who's also lying. I guess what I'm saying is, it's not your job to sit there and tolerate things that you know to be inaccurate and that may even be like causing harm by people having, not just having, but enacting viewpoints that are based on just like false information. But you're not required to be polite in the face of people who are being rude, condescending, passive-aggressive, all that sort of stuff. You're not required to be the better person and be like, oh, well, you are not being very polite about this, but let me educate you. No, if somebody's being an asshole, you can just say, you're a fucking asshole, and then just, you know, just carry on your merry way. Also, prove them wrong. That's a good thing to do as well. And you're very, very much not required to educate people on factual data that they can look up for themselves. If they make just like blatantly wrong statements that they don't even like provide a link to back up, you can just say, that's not true, check the data. And if they provide a wrong reference, you can then respond with, you know, that's a wrong reference, here's the actual data, but you honestly don't have to. We're not all teachers, we're not all educators, and we aren't required to be. It's not our job to show people accurate, correct data. I'm not a civics professor, I'm not, you know, some crime statistician or whatever. People can educate themselves, and it's not your job to do that, and you can feel totally free to call them out on crap, and like, you don't have to be the person to teach them the truth. You can just be one of the voices going, that's bullshit! So as you go out there and interact with people on the internet, and yes, argue, we're all gonna argue on the internet at some point, you know, try and keep it as civil as you possibly can, but if somebody comes in just being a total asshole, you don't owe it to them to treat them any better than they arrive treating you. Okay? That's it for today, Rebels. Sorry for all of this. Special shout out to my supporters on Patreon who make the YouTube channel possible. If you want to be one of those excellent people or get signed copies of my books, there are links in the description to both of those things. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye!